Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this exciting session on driving revenue growth, the power of sales and customer experience. My name is Balram Verma, managing field marketing efforts at Hiver, and I will be guiding you through the first part of today's session. We have a fantastic lineup and some insightful discussion ahead, so let's get started. Before we begin, just a few housekeeping notes. We are recording this session and we will be sharing the recordings with you via email. Also, we have given listen-only access to our participants just to keep our variables to a minimum. So in case you have any questions, please feel free to use the Q&A section on the right-hand side of your screen. Our speakers will be answering those questions towards the end of the session. On the other side, if you don't have any question and just wanted to share something about the session, please feel free to use the live chat section on the right-hand side again. Now it's my pleasure to introduce our moderator for the session, Tim Kilroy. Tim is an expert agency coach, consultant, and advisor with years of experience in helping digital agencies and their owners generate more revenue by improving positioning, refining processes, and enhancing client experiences. So without further ado, let me hand over the stage to Tim. Over to you, Tim.
How are you, everybody? I'm super glad that you're all here. And Balram, that was so nice when you said years of experience, which I know is code for, oh my God, you're old. But that's I'll live with that. All right, so I see we've got people from Dallas, from Floral Park, New York, from Scotland. Anywhere else? We got British Columbia. We got to get one more. We need to have. Okay, Maryland. Yes. All right, cool. So we've got people literally from all over the world who are. Oh, Uruguay. Wow. Holy guacamole. Missouri. West Ireland. Oh, stop it. Too much. This is Mauritius. I think you were the winner for furthest travel virtually. Okay. So we are here today to talk about sort of the fundamental issues around creating a client relationship. And what Hiver and OnePage are talking about isn't just a simple, this is how your page should be laid out. We are actually talking about client experience, meaning from pre-click through post-click, through engagement, through follow-up, through sales process, and then eventually to being a customer. So this is a really crucial way to think about your business in a way that, frankly, so many point solutions don't allow you to. So I'd like to pop to the next slide, Balram, so we can talk about. So this research from Gartner is super important because as consumers and as customers, businesses have to prove themselves to the potential or existing clients every time they interact. Because frankly, services and feature sets can be commoditized, but customer experience is something that creates value. So I'm super glad to be here we can pop to the next slide, if we could. I'm super glad to be here with Vishal Chopra from Hiver. He's the Chief Growth Officer, and he's got great hair. And Gosia FitzGerald, who's the co-founder and CFO of OnePage, who also has great hair, but an even better accent. But Gosia, I would love to get your take on that research from Gartner, because I really do think that it is the customer experience that creates the real bond between a brand and service and a consumer or client.
I totally agree. This is such a good point, and I love that the world is moving towards this and going that direction, because I believe that the sooner the companies understand how you make your customers feel, that feeling is just as important to what you sell, the sooner they will reap the benefits of this approach. And in One Page CRM, I think we took that approach from the very early on. So with our customer experience, we actually put a great investment into training our staff in order to deliver on that promise and deliver that great positive experience at every touch point. And just to that, it actually paid off for us because it drove, the word of mouth referrals and helped us to retain customers for longer. So I'm really looking forward to discussion and diving deeper into it.
Yeah, and Vishal, before we jump into the first real question,
Sure.
how have you guys thought about the customer experience? Not from a product perspective, but from your own company perspective.
Certainly, Tim. First of all, thank you so much for that quick introduction, and hello to everyone.
And you do
from
have
across
great hair.
the-
You really do have great hair. So you do have great hair. So.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer of the theory of relativity, so I can totally get it, Tim. But thank you.
Yeah, I've
Thank
never
you so
had
much.
great hair.
You have actually, offered a very good start and very energetic start. So thank you so much, Tim, for that. And hello to everyone who has joined us from different parts of the world and from various, I would say, time zones too. So I'm not sure, should I say good morning, good evening, or noon, whatever time zone that
just say
you.
hello. I think hello works.
Everyone. Cool. So, Tim, no, that's a very pertinent question. In fact, if you really see, I joined Hiver for about 2 years back. And before that, I was with a company called Freshworks, which has, again, a very great product called Freshdesk. So you may say that I have been dabbling with the product part of the customer experience for last 5-6 years now. And as part of my role being in marketing and business development, I have seen I cannot really, stress enough to what Gosia said, that how customer experience improves your sales. But if you really ask me the definition of customer experience to the extent that I have observed, it's starting from the entire lead to deal cycle and from deal to when somebody becomes your advocate. So it's not about when somebody starts paying you and then you term them as customer. Of course, that's a definition for your CRMs, right? But a customer journey basically begins the moment they see your ad, let's say on Google, and then end up on your website. They read about your content, they go for a sign up or a free trial, they connect with your sales, they connect with your onboarding teams, your support team, and then they eventually buy your product. Once they start buying your product, of course, officially they become a customer. And from that customer, the advocacy journey also starts. So for me, CX is the summation of all the touch points from a time somebody landed on your website, or from the time that lead seed was put into the ground, to the time they became a deal, and from that onwards, your customer for life. So that's the entire customer experience.
Yeah. So let me condense that down. So essentially, CX is the continuous fulfillment of expectations from first impression through eventual customer advocacy, right?
Absolutely.
That's really what CX is. It is not about. I mean, inside of it is tactics, of course, but fundamentally, it's a way of thinking about the client in every life stage. And so I think that is such an important part to keep in mind, is that this is about imagining the experience and not being reactive and trying to tweak something to make the experience better. It's about imagining the experience first. Okay. All right. So let's start at sort of the early part of the customer experience, Gosia, with sort of sales. So often we end up with marketing, and people get to a landing page and they take some sort of action. At that point, they're now in the sales process. How does customer experience really accelerate, amplify, take away concerns during the sales process, so it feels natural and reasonable to the customer? Because as we all know, nobody ever wants to be sold anything. We like to make decisions and buy things. We hate to be sold to.
Absolutely. I also, agree with your point here as well. I think it's, during the sales process, it's nice to give that space to the or like a potential customer and let them experience not only your product and service, and that kind of like stay in the background and be of assistance whenever it's needed. But sometimes, like customers or your potential prospects, they can get distracted, so they lose interest, and you kind of have to bring them back on track and just remind them that you're not too far away. You send them some valuable information and bring them back to your service and reignite that relationship. So it's really starts that building a relationship with your prospect starts from the moment they experience maybe the first touch point with your brand. And then I think you set your expectations quite high, and you want to deliver on that promise through every stage. So starting from sales and then handing over to customer support, let's say. So it can be quite challenging to keep that positive experience for over a long period of time. But the sales process is quite helpful to guide the sales teams as well. So sales process is the set of tasks that I carefully crafted and set, and is carefully spaced out. So you don't over communicate to the customer, just trying to kind of not naturally kind of talk to them about your brand, but just always be relevant and deliver valuable information to them. And if they ask for any extra information, you're just not too far away. You're always there with your speedy response to react quickly and to deliver on their needs, and always available to discuss their situations and personalize your service as well. So,
can I ask if I want to dive deeper into something for just a second? Mm-hmm. So you said something about relevance. That you've got to be relevant to your client, and I think relevance is something that needs to be built into the thought process. As we're creating this customer experience, how do we determine what is relevant to a particular potential client?
Absolutely. You need to talk to them, first of all. You have to see where they're coming from, what maybe what websites they were on before, what they're interested in, what is definitely what the solution they're looking for. So talk to them, get to know their business, how it works, just put yourselves into the prospect's shoes and trying to kind of find their best solution. And then you have to assess, is my product, my service that I offer is actually suitable for them? And I kind of always feel that there's no, there's no solution that fits all needs. So if customers is not really suitable, like if your solution is not suitable for the customer, there's no really, trying to convince them to purchase, and then they can just churn after a while and then kind of leave dissatisfied. So my advice would be just always to focus on customers that your solution works perfectly, and then strengthen that relationship. And then, you can ensure that if you provide a good customer support and good sales experience, they will stay with you for longer. And then, they will become your brand advocates as well.
Right. Okay, and we just got a note from Liz in the chat about about the specific uses of CRM and how to quickly and easily nurture folks. And so, just as a follow-up question to that sort of sales experience, so how do we make sure that if you've got a bunch of inbound leads or you've got a bunch of outbound sales activity that's creating a lot of opportunity for you, how do we effectively use CRM tools to do this nurture thing, which is exactly what the in a very basic idea, like nurture is customer experience, right? And so how do we effectively leverage a tool like OnePage to do that?
Yeah, so like OnePageCRM is really for proactive sales. So what you want to really achieve here is to have a system that forces you or reminds you about, the consistent follow-ups. So when the customer is on the lookout for any service, you have them in your database and you start kind of reconnecting with them and just building a relationship. And then, when they, let them maybe think about your offering and then send the email. And then after that, you need to really follow up on your last action. So it's a set of actions that you need to complete. And once you complete an action, another action should follow. So it's like a sequential, really, order of actions. And in that way, you're actually locking up your prospects into continuous loop of follow-up. So you never drop the ball, because I think the research kind of tell us that 80% of sales require 5 follow-up calls after the meeting, and yet only 44% of salespeople give up after the first follow-up. So it's quite a complex process, like it's not a simple interaction. Somebody is looking for a product, they checked it out, maybe they trialed, and they are happy out to kind of go ahead and pay and subscribe. But it's the competition is so vast, the choice is really huge. So you have to make sure that your interactions with customers, it's up to a standard that the customers are, attracted to dealing with you, that they know that you listen to them, that you're trying to put every effort and care in order to solve their query. So that's kind of
and I think that means that you need to have an idea of what the customer experience should be, right? There's definitely that we really absolutely need to have an idea of what a potential client needs at whatever stage of the conversation they are in. So, the needs of somebody who's in the discovery phase of sales is very different than someone who's in the active, feature comparison, right? And so I think that's it's important to have that sort of that entirety of the journey. And Vishal, I think conversely, as people enter into the customer phase of their relationship, you also need to have an understanding from a help desk perspective, what people need at the early stage of their customer relationship versus somebody who's been a customer for years.
Absolutely, Tim. I think that is where I think the integration of tech stack, now irrespective of what technology that you use, end of the day, technology is enabler. So the good enablement can only happen if the systems are talking to each other, if there is context that is being shared, if there is history of that customer, which is being passed on from one system, let's say CRM, to your help desk and vice versa too. So for example, if you have a customer who has been who is perhaps top 10% of your revenue base, and and there are many organizations who would actually offer services based on some tiering of their customers. So somebody might be on a premium, let's say, service package versus somebody who is on a basic service package or support package. How would your systems understand? So your system first need to record that okay, this has been, let's say, onboarded into a premium service versus basic service. Even otherwise, let's say it's not about the tiering, then also, let's say if there is a customer who is very important for your business, they may not be huge in terms of the revenue, but they are one of your named accounts, and you would really want to give them a white glove treatment. So first, your system has to record that. It could be your CRM system. It needs to pass it to your help desk, which can actually then identify if there is a query coming in from, let's say, these and these accounts or these titles. It should highlight to your support agent or your support team saying that these are important customers, and that context and background can be passed from one system to another, from one team to another. And that is where the relevance of support would also be better.
Okay, great point. So again, customer experience is not a single point solution, right? It's not what happens when they land on the web page. So what other ways do tools get connected? Are chat and email, email and and site visits. How do we connect all of those things so that easily one person, or the person who's in charge, can actually get their hands on all of the information?
Right, Tim. I think what you are actually alluding to is the concept of single view of customer. Now that single view can be derived from multiple, data sources, like you rightly said. It can be integrated. It could be there could be a native integration. For example, Hiver offers native integration with CRM like Salesforce. We are soon coming up with our
and
own.
a CRM like OnePage.
Absolutely, that is where I was actually coming to.
Why would you talk about Salesforce? We don't even know who those people are.
Absolutely. I take that reference back. But what I'm saying is, as Hiver, we are also coming up with the customized connectors, where you can expose the Hiver APIs and integrate with your choice of platform. It could be any technology stack. It could very well be OnePageCRM for that matter. So when you have a connected stack, now what are some of the ways you rightly asked? Now, when you think of a lead, the lead could also enter from multiple channels. It could be website. It could be, for example, even WhatsApp. There are a lot of, small e-commerce websites which will, get the leads through WhatsApp, for example. And so is the case with support today. So your support channels could be, let's say, on email, which has been the age-old call, chat. It could also be WhatsApp for that matter. So let's say if I'm facing a problem and if my service provider or product organization is offering WhatsApp service for customer support, I can go there. I can quickly raise a ticket. If it is something which is easily addressable, let's say we call them as L1 queries, the WhatsApp bot would be able to understand that L1 query and would be able to suggest or recommend some of the help pages where you can go and sort of DIY experience, do it yourself experience. But in case if it is a little complex, you can actually then ask for raising a ticket, or you can ask for connecting with a human. So all these scenarios are possible the moment you have a single view of customer in the heart of your solutioning. Good part about most of the SaaS tools or AI tools that you see today, everybody understands that it's very important for all of them to connect with each other. It's very important for all of them to exchange the data and information, because eventually that is what will actually retain their customers with them.
Right. Okay. Gosia. So same concept on the sales side. So there's multiple touch points. There's people coming in through ads. There's inbound lead fills. There's there's outbound email. There's text. There's WhatsApp. There's networking. How important is it for all of those things to be able to be recorded or engaged with on the CRM side?
You hit the nail on the head, to be honest, Tim, because without all the information that's happening outside, within the company, like we kind of a little bit lost, like we don't have a visibility. So we might not be aware what other communication is landing in the customer's mailbox. Like while I'm sending an email maybe from a sales side, they might, and just asking them for the renewal, let's say, they might have an open case on the customer service, and they might not be happy right now. So just getting an email about the renewal at the same time, you can appreciate that it's not the best timing. And I will be probably just creating more havoc and just I'd be the risk of destroying this relationship than rather, hoping for renewal here. So, I think what we're trying to do is like not only integrations with the help desk are super helpful, like for salespeople and also for the support agents alike, because the information flow from between one app to another as well, and enable them to have this full view. So, we're not getting into a danger zones when we know that somebody might be not happy, but also, since I actually closed maybe the deal with this customer last year, I can quickly see, okay, what was that customer's journey since I spoke to him last, how happy he is. Maybe he left us some feedback or a testimonial. And then my next message to him will be quite relevant and, it won't be generic. Like, I'll just reference whatever, maybe something from the previous conversations you might have with the customer support. And that I'm sure they will appreciate it, that I'm already aware what has been happening with them since maybe my last interactions. So this is absolutely crucial, but not only for that reason. It's just one thing I wanted to mention, because what we're trying to achieve, just trying to tie all those loose ends, basically. So all those communication that goes out maybe from marketing through email campaigns, what's happening on the accounting side. Have they been invoiced or not? Are we waiting? So we have actually released a simple widget integration. So at the minute, there's 10 applications we're integrating with, and it's a really simple format that it actually sits neatly in the customer profile. So all the relevant information for that particular customer is included in one place, and you can kind of navigate through all the different tabs. You can actually select a la carte. So depending on what is the current ecosystem that your business uses, integrate with email marketing or integrate with other SaaS businesses as well, and then click through them. And before you actually reach out to a customer, have a full picture of actually what has been happening with them. Did they open the email and they click on the links and stuff like that?
Yeah,
so,
right.
That's super
and so
important.
that drives a bunch of internal efficiency, right? It means that there's less need for internal meetings about the status of different customers and or their desk. So that actually saves a bunch of time, and improves your internal communication, allows everybody to essentially be on the same page and understand if this client is happy or sad or this this prospect is close. But what are some of the other ways that we create efficiency? So obviously everybody is gaga about AI, because goodness knows creating mid-journey images with 6 fingers is really the key to sales success these days. But like how are we using AI to make the customer experience better and lighten the sort of administrative load internally? Vishal, I'll let you jump in there.
Take that, Tim, for sure. I can start with
since you are in fact AI yourself.
For sure. No, I think when it comes to AI, I think I would actually call it as the phase 2 of AI in customer support, at least, or in sales scenarios too. The phase 1, like you rightly said, with the advent of ChatGPT, it was democratized. Like I remember ChatGPT when it was launched, and it was the first product, SaaS product, true product, which has gained 100 million users the fastest. So from that perspective, if you see, we are already in stage 2. And what I see AI playing a role, at least in support function, at 2 levels. The first level is what I call as agent assist. What it really means that if you are a customer support rep, or the agents as we call them in some of the organizations and industries, for an agent, there are a lot of operational overloads that happens. For example, if you are talking to a customer, you would have to basically file a case, or you would have to, after the call is over, you would have to prepare some of the summary of your discussion. You would have to log it in your system, any system, CRM systems or your help desk systems, and then pass that on to your other teams. Because remember, when it comes to helping your customer, invariably there would be multiple teams who would be involved. Your support rep is just the point of contact for your customer to connect with the extended army of the team that you have at your organization. So the support rep is just a conduit to work with, let's say, sales, work with billing, work with payments teams and whatnot. So that rep has to do a lot of logistical work before and after the call or the discussions are over.
Yeah.
There is a lot that can be automated with AI. For example, just to give an example in the context of Hiver recently launched one feature, and I'm by no means I'm actually giving the promotion of Hiver. I'm just trying to
come on, sell it. You're like that. Come on, that's why you're here.
No,
this is the best AI tool you've ever seen. It will slices it, dices.
So why I'm actually sharing it, because I've seen it to be of great use to our users also. In fact, this is one of the features which has been adopted so quickly within our user base. So what it typically does, let's say if there is an email query which is coming in from any of your customer, your support rep or your help at, let's say, hiverhq.com, that team is managing that inbound query that has come from a customer support asking for, let's say, any information, could be billing or anything like that. Now, after 3 or 4 iterations, there would be like a chain of email. And let's say if it is about passing that information to your billing team, our feature, which is email summarizer, what it does, it uses AI, summarizes that entire chain in a very succinct manner and put it as a note so that you can add that note, tag your extended team, let's say somebody in billing. You can tag, if Tim is with billing, you can say @Tim, can you please look at this? This is the context.
Yeah, by the way, Tim should never be in billing, ever. I should never do.
Okay, then I will say Alex. So irrespective of that, so the point is that AI can do a lot of such automations. It can take care of a lot of, even, for example, these AI, we may actually call this AI right now, like the phase one or the life stage one of AI was the automations only. All that machine learning things, algorithms was the prelims of the AI.
Right.
It's the generative AI right now. And the second stage of AI is, or the second part of AI where it actually does a lot of wonders today, and there is a lot which is happening in the industry, is about self-help. It's about how do you empower your customers so that they can solve for their problems themselves. In languages, it is called as, there is a little bit of static. In internal languages or parlance, it is also called as ticket deflection. So ticket is basically a query, and deflection is basically you don't really give that ticket to your human support team, but that is deflected to your bots, or if you're to your help pages or the support pages that you have. How do you make it relevant? How do you understand the context? The bot can actually understand the context. It can then throw up the recommended or it can recommend at the help pages, which is useful in the context of the query.
Right.
So these are the two places where I feel AI is helping.
Okay, excellent. So, and Gosia, on the sales side, and this ties right into a question we have from Robin, who asked, should manual CRM be should manual CRM scoring be prioritized over automated lead scoring platforms? And so that's a little bit of an AI question. So in what ways can you think of that AI actually helps in the sort of the relationship building, the relevance, and then also sort of helping your internal team prioritize things?
Yeah, no, the AI is actually there, but it's still, I think it's, we all need testing it. So there will be some tools that they specialize in AI and actually in the sales process of it, in the sales aspect of it. So they could be like, taking the whole information about the customer that you have, analyze it, and do it on the large scale. So which is, great and time efficient. So you as a human being, you have only so much time on your hands, and you can actually use AI to produce the insights for you. And then based on those insights, you can actually use maybe some email sequencing and just personalized messages. Now, at this point, I feel, I think it's still, we need human supervision. We can't kind of 100% trust the AI to, let's say, run that process in the background. But it should be, like use the AI for your advantage, but at the same time, constantly check what's being suggested and maybe just accept it. And in terms of prioritizing these as well, I think it's quite useful because AI can recognize the buying patterns much faster. So whatever behavior previously was experienced on the prospect side, they can actually kind of, notice, so many percentages of those leads have converted. Let's just focus on contacting them. And, this way sales teams are more effective, and they can focus their efforts in the areas that they're most likely to succeed. Now, I'm sorry, but I have to mention that I'm a huge advocate of the human relationships as well. So that connection, and I don't think we can ever replace it. So especially in sales, that kind of personal touch and conversations, I think there's still a place for it. We can't eliminate it. And, let's not forget that people buy your product, but they really buy from you. They buy because they like you, they trust you, they like your brand. So AI, I don't think it will be ever able to replace it.
In fact, sorry, Tim.
No, please go ahead.
No, I was just about to extend that thought that Gosia, just shared, that Even when I see the support functions or all these things, there is a lot of AI that is coming in. See, AI can definitely be good to, take care of the FAQs sort of questions. Let's say, where is my order, or the billing issues and all. But when it requires personalization, when it requires the empathy, I think AI is still far from that. So I also foresee a future, the next wave of AI, where the things are human first, AI assisted. So the AI assistants would actually, help them be more effective and efficient in what they do. It will take away the mundane task out from them.
Yeah.
It will offer the suggestions in real time, offer the context, some of the examples that I share, but it would be human first to maintain that kind of.
I think those are both terrific points. Is that the AI part of any technology is best solved, is best used to create sort of personal efficiencies, not to remove the human touch, right? So and to answer Robin's question specifically about lead scoring, like lead scoring is a beautiful AI example, right? Because it sort of prioritizes opportunities for you. However, it doesn't act on them, so you still have to create the you can still use your human insight and intuition to push forward into the things that you feel are most important. All right, so we've got about 8 or 9 minutes before we want to jump into Q&A, and I hope those of you who are left have a bunch of Q's and A's. Well, you guys have the Q's, we'll have the A's. But so. And feel free to be expansive with this, because we had planned on sort of like giving the one business growth hack for business. I'll let you give 2 each. So Vishal, what's your number 1 and number 2 growth hack for business?
Yeah, in fact, for sure, Tim. In fact, there are 2 that I would definitely offer. The first one being Chief Growth Officer myself, and at Hiver we serve a lot of SMB audience, small and medium businesses. One thing that I have learned in this economy, at least, which is a little tough on all of us, I personally feel that if you are dependent on just one channel for revenue acquisition, so you could be very heavily dependent on, let's say, inbound for that matter, or you could be very heavily dependent on your channel partners to pursue your sales. You could also be heavily dependent on, let's say, field marketing or event marketing efforts. Point is, every quarter you should try to generate one additional channel and take 5% of your revenue acquisition goal through the year from that channel. What I'm saying is, if you, let's say, you are very heavily dependent on inbound, and inbound is bringing you 95% of the business today, by the end of the year, try and see if that 95% can be done at 90 and the 5% is done by other channels. It's very important for all of the businesses to continue to try and test. There are a lot of new channels that are emerging today, and people are well educated even before they come to your website. Gosia can definitely tell more about it, but then being a marketer myself, I can tell you that people are more educated. When they come to your demo, they exactly know what problem they are here for. They really want to get into these, pricing conversations then and there. Unlike, let's say 5, 6, 10 years back, whereby the pricing conversations used to happen second or third level of discussions. That is not the case anymore. So
I saw recently that from IBM, B2B buyers had already had their list of finalists before their first contact with any of them.
Absolutely.
So buyers were ready to make a purchase decision in the first or second call. They may have been engaged for years through marketing and content efforts, but they are much closer to a call to a decision in their first call than they used to be.
Absolutely true. Absolutely. And that is what I have been also noticing. So my first suggestion, or the first principle that I also follow, is that always try to diversify your revenue acquisition channels. Don't be just overly dependent on one, because the times are changing, so are the audiences. Let's say in inbound, for example, if I were to give you an example with Perplexity, which is a very big competitor to Google search today. I have seen a lot of cases whereby people are searching on Perplexity first, and then they are coming to our website and then making a purchase. So those things are changing right now. The second thing that I would definitely advise, even though I said that is human first and AI assisted, I also feel that AI is a great leveler, because this entire AI thing is starting right now for everyone at the same time. It doesn't matter if you are a large enterprise or a small, business.
Mm-hmm.
That AI has come to you, if the chat GPT or Perplexity has come to you, they are all coming at the same level. It's just about how do you, practice that AI, how do you test that. So one thing that I typically do, and that's the growth hack that I use for myself too, I have a personal, I have a different Gmail where I just use it for signing up to all the new AI tools that I come across.
Mm-hmm.
For sign up, I also try and see how I can use them in my day-to-day operations.
Sure.
How my teams can actually get benefited out of it. So there are a lot of things that we have done. One such example, and Balram, if you are still listening and with us, is
we do want to make sure that we get to Gosia. So let's move this along.
Last second, for sure. So this casebook, we created this casebook. Balram will share the link with all of you. We use an AI tool to come up with, so we fed our case study. We came up with the script of our case study with the chat GPT, fed that script into this AI tool, and then it gave us all these, frames of the comic book or the casebook as we call it. 60 to 70% of that casebook was done by AI. Another 30-40% was done by my design team. But if you were to ask me now, this was done 4-5 months back. If you ask me now, the AI tools are much better, and I'm very confident that 80% of that would be done now. So
right, nice. Yeah, that's cool. That's nice. And definitely share that in the share.
Yeah, we just shared in the live chat. So
all right,
feel free
great.
to have a look.
Okay, all right, Gosia, what are your 2 business hacks? And then also, Robin, thank you for asking another question, and maybe you can chime in on this, Gosia. Thoughts on the use of chatbots for pre-sales support?
Oh, perfect. Yeah, no, I see the question, Robin. Thank you, Robin. The thoughts on the use of the chatbots with the pre-sales support. I have a mixed feelings about the chatbots. They may cause a lot of frustrations. But I think if we use it to our advantage, they could be a winner as well. Especially when I think about situations when the pre-sales chatbots can be helpful when collecting data. So doing that kind of like a prep work when you don't want to waste your agent's time or your sales people's time, on collecting data when the chatbot is actually perfect solution, just providing a simple, couple of questions, and it can actually even summarize it for an agent. So when that information is being passed, they just have a, clear information what's required. So I think that would be a nice use. In terms of the hacks, business hacks, I actually, you asked for 2. So I'll have one for sales and one for customer experience. Okay. I'll keep it simple because I know that a lot of customers of OnePageCRM are small business, and they wear lots of hats, and they can struggle, and they're short of time and when they run their business. And I came across these stats where I actually find it quite shocking that, even the sales reps, that only 37% of the sales reps' time is spent on selling. So if this is just
high to me.
It's high, but like most
the rest
of the day is spent on admin tasks, and I don't know, looking at the blue sky, I'm not sure, rather not, but I'm talking about the proactive selling and reaching out and making those connections. When I say selling, it's not about hard selling. It's just building that connections. So my hack for just to improve it would be, how about if we dedicated 1 hour per day, whichever time in the day you find more suitable, like that your prospect will be the most responsive. But just get back out there, get back to connecting on LinkedIn or sending the emails or whatever needs to be done in order to kind of deepen your relationship with your prospects and kind of help them to get to know you better, and just making sure that you're always available and approachable. So that's my hack number 1. Just dedicate 1 hour before everything else kind of takes your mind share. And that's for sales. For customer experience, this one could be a little bit tough one because I find that people are, like whoever is using the services or products, they're not really willing to share negative feedback. Only one person in 26 that actually is willing to share negative feedback. And, we can all understand why. We don't want all these follow-up calls. We don't want to kind of send, sound negative and stuff like this. But if your customer support can, ensure that they can, look for signs that, the client is stop being engaging with them and, react in time before they churn and just make it right for the customer. Even, just ask for that feedback, and make them comfortable about it, but not only ask, you have to act on it, so if it's such a great effort to actually share a negative feedback, you definitely have to ask for it and get back to the customer, with whatever, results of your follow-ups are. It might not be the easiest of interactions, but I think it's very much worth it because that customer will appreciate much more the efforts that you're trying to do the right for the customer.
Agreed. All right. I will give my one growth hack, is create in your mind this metric of return on understanding. So the better that you understand your clients, your markets, and their needs, the more benefit you are going to be able to deliver. So the deeper that you understand, the greater your results. And that really is the thing that I find gets in the way the most, because so many people get very excited about the thing that they do, and they spend less time thinking about how the people on the other side are actually using and experiencing it. So the better that you understand the user case and the user needs, the better your product or service is going to be. Okay, now, Gosia, we have just about the very best question for you from Joseph. How do I use OnePage to automate consistent marketing to my 1,800 leads?
Oh, I don't see that question, but can you repeat? Oh, how do I use the OnePageCRM to automate consistent marketing to my 1,800 leads? Okay. Well,
if by the way, if that's not a layup for you to hit it out of the park, I don't know what is. So.
Yeah. Oh, well, you're very lucky to have so many leads. And I would say at first you want to kind of segment them and focus on the ones that are the highest value and they're the closest to converting. So your messaging definitely has to change to be, relevant to their needs. But we try not to be this. We're not an email marketing tool, okay? But the advantage of OnePageCRM is that you can integrate your email with the tool, and we actually enable you to send bulk emails. So, you can say, divide your leads and maybe like 4 chunks, and you can send 400 emails per day, and maybe just test them. Okay, just like even send the email goes out from your personal mailbox. So there's a greater chance that it gets to the customer. It won't be put into social or spam mailboxes and stuff like that. But like if you test it with the, messaging first and then see what kind of responses, you can actually always update it. And, on your next batch, you can improve your messaging. But the nice thing about it is that when you integrate your email, which is integrating, we integrate with Gmail or Outlook, it actually sounds like it's a personal email that goes out, so some people might be quite, not paying as much attention to email marketing, but, we have a feature that's called, you can send email in bulk and you can personalize it at the same time. So when you actually create your master email, you use the different variables. So it's actually sending an email to, 400 recipients is actually super fast and super efficient. So check it out.
All right. So here's a question. You said, the first thing you want to do is you want to sort of segment them. What are the kind of things that you want to think about when you're segmenting your leads?
Well, where are they coming from as well? Like, what are they looking for? What's their, previous interactions? Is it completely new customer? Where did they find you as well? Or what kind of source they came from, and trying to kind of address that.
Right. So source, industry, activity, behavior. How hot their headshot is, whatever. Like you can segment it a bunch of different ways. But what are some of the ways that that you can think of that might actually transfer through to the customer service side? So, is there this idea of maybe a VIP, like somebody who's got a C in their title is in a slightly different segment than somebody who's got a director in their title?
Yeah, no, we actually use those segmentations as well. So definitely, like, bigger accounts, that they take more priority, and you want to kind of make sure that they are, their experience with you is more positive. So, like, from the moment they on board with you and they ask any questions, I think, like, you should put every effort to get back to them in a really timely manner, not to kind of let them sit and wondering when you're going to get them the answers. I'm not saying that you can ignore smaller accounts, like, it's just as important. I think the target for the customer support is, okay, just organize, you have to triage your mailbox, like, which are the tickets that are most pressing, like, if somebody has an urgent matter, they can't get access to the system, they can't log in, like, you definitely have to address this first. And then some people, like, they just have just generic queries that you can always kind of get back to them. And, you can actually, if you don't have those urgent tickets to kind of, waiting for you, you can spend more time and you can actually provide a more complete reply to them. Like.
Right. And Vishal, I assume that there is a way to sort of hand those segments over to Hiver so that the customer service rep could be effective in prioritizing them in the same way.
Yeah, for sure. I think, like I said, see, end of the day, it's about analytics. When you segment something, what you are doing is you are basically creating those cohorts. Now, that cohort, you rightly said, Tim, could be on the basis of a certain domain. For example, 123.com is a VIP customer for you. So any email that comes from 123 must be treated on a highest priority. You may also segment to an extent that anybody who has a title of director in your systems, of course, director, VP, and anything above, must be dealt by a different team versus somebody who is, let's say, manager or somebody else. The other thing that you can also do, let's say, if someone is a regular user versus an admin of your product. Now, if an admin is raising an issue, your ticket might be, you may actually want to take that query with the. So all those cohorts can be created. And Joseph, if I may add one thing to what Gosia said, if you're looking for a consistent marketing nurture, one of the things that I have seen working is, because any nurture that you do on the basis of the source, it will run for, let's say, perhaps 4 to 6 weeks out. You might actually want to do one email per week so as to respect the frequency of the emails and also their inboxes. You would have to think of an evergreen nurture. For many of the companies, including us also, the evergreen nurture is the monthly prospect newsletter that we send out. In that prospect newsletter, we cover the product, we cover the thought leadership, we cover many more articles, and offer that as a way to stay connected with Hiver. So you may actually want to use that. That monthly thing can continue to run as a parallel stream for you on top of all the segmentations that Gosia suggested.
Cool. All right, we got a couple minutes left. Do we have any more cues from the questions from the audience? If not now, when, people? Okay. All right. So I've got sort of just one more question, and then we'll use this to wrap up. So for both of you, what's the big overriding benefit of your platform? Not not from a technical perspective or a feature perspective, but like what's the strategic value that your platform brings to your clients? And Gosia, why don't you go first?
Yeah.
Because Vishal clearly needs to think about this. He's quickly checking ChatGPT right now to ask that question.
No, I have a parallel window of ChatGPT listening to you.
Okay, all right.
He's already transcribed all the chat already, like, we have the answers ready.
I have the answers.
For one-page CRM, I think it's just about, everything is about the follow-up, like we're trying to support the salespeople in terms of, okay, not to be dropping the ball and providing a system that not only puts all the contacts, like, that sales-related contacts in one place, but make them actionable. Okay, so every contact has an action associated with it. And then you continue through the sales process until the deal is closed. But when you deal with so many prospects and there's so many follow-ups, it's so easy to lose track and to drop the ball. And that may actually cause you a loss of sale. So I think, and it's not really what every other CRM does. No, like one-page CRM is action-focused CRM. And this is the strength. So basically we list, like when people,
right,
when users start
you bubble up the things that need to get done, right?
Absolutely.
Like you take the action and make it front and center.
Absolutely.
So that's all. That's terrific, and that's, as we all know, that's selling is like a never-ending series of small activities, and having not having to go search for what to do next is really important. All right, Vishal.
All right. So, Tim, you would have to actually recall the question for me. So I lost the track.
Oh yeah. So what's the big strategic value that Hiver brings?
Yeah, thank you so much. So for Hiver, I think the biggest strategic or the biggest use that we offer to our customers is that it works right inside your inbox. Now, what it really means is that if you are, let's say, on Gmail or Outlook, Hiver can be delivered through, for example, on Gmail, it can be delivered through Chrome extension. So it will sit very quietly on the familiar interface that your users are already very familiar with. For example, you go on Gmail, you type your emails, Hiver logo is there, and alongside Hiver logo, there are multiple features that can come alongside that Hiver extension. So you wouldn't really feel like an alien interface, and you won't have to actually toggle between one window to another while responding. So everything is just one window.
That's fantastic, because it brings the power of the tool to where you already are.
Absolutely.
So in both cases, both in one-page CRM and Hiver, what we're doing is we're bringing the work front and center.
Absolutely.
So that everybody has the best pre-customer experience during the sales process and the best post-customer experience, post-purchase experience. All right. So,
basically.
Yeah. All right, sports fans. We're at time. This has been super duper. I'm really glad that you were all here. Folks, you're going to get a recording of this. If you want, go ahead and mute my voice. That's totally fine. I will not be offended. And I think all of us are available for questions individually. And I'm we're not hard to find. So Gosia, thank you so much for your time today. Vishal, thank you as well. And I don't know, so in my screen, you guys are next to each other, so maybe you just want to give each other a high five before we go. Come on. All right. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you so much for this wonderful moderation. Really enjoyed this conversation. And I hope our attendees also enjoyed it. So we will share the recording and we have also shared our LinkedIn profiles, and you can of course find Tim. Tim, if you want to share your LinkedIn profile quickly in general chat, that would be awesome.
Yeah, sure. Actually, I'll just give you my website. It's timkilroy.com. It took me a long time to come up with that URL.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Take
Bye.
care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.